Alright, party people! Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week, I am joined once again by friend of the show, Erika Chappell, for a playtest of her new game, Flying Circus. Flying Circus is a powered-by-the-apocalypse game of historical air combat. Specifically, it aims to emulate the terrifying and thrilling experience of World War I-era dogfights, piloting these new, experimental, barely functioning aircraft as you duke it out in the skies for supremacy. Set in a post-apocalyptic, Industrial Revolution setting, it involves adventurers hopping behind the flight sticks of these scavenged and salvaged aircraft, taking to the skies and conquering mystery in a pursuit of glory and adventure. Flying Circus is cool as hell, y'all. It takes the Powered by the Apocalypse engine and adds a number of, tactical, crunchy, mechanical bits to it to make this experience that is really unique and fascinating and interesting, and I cannot wait for you to hear the episode. And I cannot wait for you to back the game on Kickstarter when it drops on Kickstarter this month. I think it's an awesome game that is well worth your time and money. You can learn more about Flying Circus, as well as get a link to the Kickstarter when it drops, in the show notes. Before we dive in, the usual disclaimer regarding playtest supplies. There might be changes between what you're hearing on the episode and what actually makes it into the final game. The game is still in progress. Keep that in mind as you're listening. And with all that out of the way, let's throw it over to me in the past so he can get started with the show. Take it past me.
Thanks, future me. This week, my guest once again is Erika Chappell. Erika, thank you so much for coming back on Party of One.
Thank you for having me.
So, as we are playing another one of your fantastic games, why don't you take a moment and introduce it, give us the concept, and also tell our listeners where they may soon be able to get it.
All right, cool. So we're going to be playing a game that I wrote today called Flying Circus, which is a kind of powered by the apocalypse game about flying biplanes and other similar early aircraft. But it's pretty weird because it's actually a really crunchy game for a powered by the apocalypse game. It's got a lot of detailing put in to make the air combat realistic and dynamic and make you factor in all the things that you have to worry about in a real early airplane, like it disintegrating at any moment. And it's also a sort of fantasy game about a sort of early 20th century post-apocalypse in a world of magic and machinery. So it's got some cool, alternate universe type themes and a lot of bizarreness and pulpy nonsense on top of the, almost painfully realistic aircraft mechanics.
It's a hell of a pitch. I could not be more on board if I tried. I love Powered by the Apocalypse games. I love the added crunch. I'm really excited. I'm pumped. And I believe this game is soon to be on Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a couple days after this episode drops, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be running throughout March, and the goal is to get a really nice print run of this book and justify the absurd amount of time I've spent reading aircraft manuals and painstakingly modeling 3D airplanes.
Isn't that the goal of all of our projects, is to justify the absurd amount of time that we've spent?
Yeah.
Diving into them? Isn't that really the goal of all of this?
Pretty much, yeah. So, I learned a lot.
So really, isn't that the real reward?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's, I think we should get rolling.
Yeah, I'm ready to dive in.
Yeah, you should, tell me about your character.
So my character's name is Oskar Castagnoli. Oskar is a young man, freckled face, soft gaze, lanky body. I'm picturing not Shaggy from Scooby-Doo per se, but one of those characters from another Hanna-Barbera cartoon that's just Shaggy.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Scraggly little goatee thing.
Yeah.
That, four hairs. Yeah.
For sure. Definitely, they just took the Shaggy model and moved it into another cartoon.
Awesome. Okay, yeah.
Oskar was a farmer. He grew up on a farm. He grew up on, an okra farm, or, a grain farm that wasn't, picturesque. It was kind of dirty and grimy. and he kind of always had his eye to the horizon. More specifically, he kind of always... he would look out at the horizon and he would hear, like, the cheers of throngs of people as he saves the day. He always kind of wanted to be some form of a war hero. Ever since his Aunt Georgina, who was a ground sniper, which is unusual given how much of combat is sort of based in the plane, ever since she kind of fought off some invading bandits with her signature precision rifle, which is a big honking gun. A gun much like the precision rifle, or rather, exactly like it, because he stole it when he ran away. Exactly the gun that is mounted on his plane. He basically strong-armed one of her old war buddies to train him in how to fly a plane. And he kind of set off and has said, like he said goodbye to his family, who said, yeah, okay, we'll see you in 6 months when your plane crashes and when you kind of, like, get a head on your shoulders. And he's off to be a hero.
So we're going to pick up with Oskar in the kind of semi-town of Augsburg. So Augsburg used to be a real, like, proper industrial town. But it suffered very badly during the Great War, about 30 years ago. So a lot of it caught fire, a lot of it burnt down, and most of the people left. But after the war ended, and sort of brought with it the end of nations and civilization as we know it, people started moving back in, because, hey, there was some brick houses, you just had to put a new roof on, you know, there was materials to use, and everyone knew where it was. So it's become kind of a trading post. So picture sort of an early 20th century town that's been sort of fallout-ed. There's, you know, these lovely brick houses missing their roofs that have had, like, tarps or sheet metal put in their place. And tents and shacks and stuff erected everywhere else. The narrow city streets are occupied by way too many people going about their day, trying to make it, you know, day to day in this post-apocalypse. And there we find Oskar walking opposite the crowd, looking for work. So it's been a couple months now. You left sometime in the spring, and it's summer now. It's blazingly hot. And you are running out of money. You've been trying to avoid taking sketchy jobs, so that hasn't really done great for your pocketbook. The money in this universe is the old trade currency from like 4 centuries ago in universe. So it's these huge honkin' gold coins, and you are down to your last 3. And that's a lot of money for like a regular person, but you have to fuel your airplane. So
yeah, right. That's not adventurer money. That's regular person money, and I am no regular person.
Exactly. You are a person with a rotary engine in an airplane that drinks castor oil. So you've got to do something, or you're going to be grounded. So what are you looking for in this city? Where are you looking for work?
I think I'm walking the streets. I think I'm looking specifically for, where does Oskar? I think I'm looking for veterans bars, like almost, the fantasy equivalent of an American Legion Hall. A place where the old warbirds kind of hang out. Because I figure if anybody is swapping stories about, like, something dangerous, that's where I'll hear about it.
Cool. Yeah, so there's it doesn't take you long to find a bar that its sign outside is all the old rondels of the armies of the Great War that have, like, sort of cut together, which is incidentally the 4 card suites. So you go, oh, you know, that's probably a military bar. That's probably where those people are going to be hanging out. Veterans tend to be pretty rich in this setting compared to everybody else because they got home and they sold their planes. So, and or they became bandits for the first little bit and stole a bunch of shit. And you're not really sure which is which necessarily. So you step into this bar and it is, it's dark, dingy. There's not a lot of people in it. nobody really, like, you have the feeling that there's only regulars here and that a new person stepping in is very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, the big steel or iron steins or whatever. There's, you know, casks of beer against the back wall. There's low conversation and people in the ragged remains of old uniforms reliving war stories. Above the bar is a propeller mounted there, as well as all along the walls are canvas from old aircraft that have been cut loose and turned into decorations in a multitude of colors. So, who are you going to talk to? What are you going to do?
I think I saddle up to the bar. I slam one of, or I think I slam. Yeah, I definitely kind of march around a little bit, like, you know, do a little bit of a strut, puff my chest a little bit, like lean in a little too close to some of the old guys sharing war stories, like kind of just like awkwardly try to fit into this insider atmosphere.
Yeah.
Before I like slide up to the bar and, you know, just wait for the bartender to either notice me, either give me a drink or kick me out.
Yeah, so the bartender comes out, and she's a short, dark-skinned woman who has two, like, both her arms below the elbows are replaced with, like, sort of copper and almost clockwork, but not quite, prosthetics.
Mm-hmm.
And they tinker and make weird sounds as she moves. You see that there's little keys in the bottom of each one that are slowly rotating. As she, you know, pours you a stein of the only drink in the bar. Mm-hmm. Post-apocalypse hasn't been great for microbreweries. And slides it across the table without even really looking at you.
And I take a long drink of it and kind of like spit in my stool a little bit.
Oh God. Yeah, okay.
And then like come back around and like look around and try to say to the bartender, but also to anybody else listening, booze, work, and conversation, the three great things. Granted, I've only got two, but who knows, maybe I'll find the third today.
The bartender just like face palms behind you and like grabs you by the shoulder and turns you back around in the stool on the rotating bit, and just, you know, you're new to this, aren't you?
I don't know what what gave it away.
Oh, everything. The way you dress, the complete lack of awareness of your situation, I mean, I can list the things you're doing right.
Okay. That sounds great.
You have decent boots.
I knew these were good boots to buy.
So, have you ever flown a combat mission before?
I don't think I have.
Cool. So, what I want you to do here is, you're going to make your first move. You're gonna You're gonna make the looking for work move, and what you say to the bartender to see if you get this job is gonna be dependent on that.
Sure.
So the way that this works is you're not actually rolling one of your stats. You're rolling one of the town's stats. You're rolling how rich the town is, and this is a trading town, so it's +2. Like, this town is actually doing pretty well. They have bars, you know? Mm-hmm. They're doing okay. So, roll 2d10 +2.
Alright. 2d10.
This is a d10 base powered by the Apocalypse game because I hate tradition.
That is a 22.
Okay, you obliterated it. So, what do you say that immediately, like, inspires new confidence and gets this person to go, maybe I can hire you for something?
I think she lays out all of the things I'm doing wrong, and I kind of, without missing a beat, I, like, lean in, and I'm like, wow, thank you, thank you. Nobody's ever laid it out for me like that before.
Yeah, and you're gonna need a leather jacket. Like, That's just piloting 101. Like, you need something to put your insignia on. It's your advertisement. You are your advertisement for your business here.
That makes so much sense. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Thank you. What is your name?
Her name is Katrina. My name is Katrina.
Katrina, thank you for taking the time to run me through. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Well, it's not often you get a pilot who's humble enough to actually take advice, even one who has no idea what they're doing. Actually, especially one that has no idea what they're doing. So,
I mean, that's kind of why I'm here. I want to know what I'm doing, and then I want to do it. And so I figured this was the place to go to figure all that out. I've been at this a little while, a few months, but I still don't feel like I'm up there, And that's where I want to be.
That makes perfect sense given everything I've observed. You do look like you have flown before, at least. And she kind of indicates around your face, like under your eyes, where every pilot has the very stark line between where their goggles are and where their bare skin is, where the oil just gets baked in.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "So you have your own plane, right?"
Oh yeah. I've got the dancer in the skies. She's a beauty.
Is it armed?
Oh yeah, it's got a machine gun and it's got a light precision rifle. It's got my aunt's light precision rifle. It's a beauty of a gun.
All right, so I think I might actually have work for you. There's a flying circus outfit that's looking for contractors, and I can pass you along if you'd like.
Katrina, that would mean so much. That is more than I expected.
So she takes a little, she tears a corner off of a sheet of paper and draws you a little map to follow through the city streets and goes, "There's a piloting club here, and the outfits hanging out, they're called Checkmate. You'll be able to identify them right away by their checker mark jackets. See?
You are right when you're right, Katrina."
So they're looking for a couple of pilots to go up, I think, for a scouting mission of some kind. I don't know very many details. Checkmate's a little bit of a rough outfit, but they always pay. So, just stay on top of that and try not to look too intimidated by them so they won't eat you alive.
I think I can do that. Thank you. And I take out one of the coins, one of my 3 coins, and I put it on the table, and I'm like, Would you buy a round for everybody and don't tell them it's for me, and make sure you get a drink yourself?
She looks down at, most towns use their own currency because these are trade coins. This is a year's wage for some, people. And she's like, "Yeah, I think I can do that." She grabs it and, quickly stuffs it away.
Thank you so much. Yeah, just don't tell him it's for me, because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to buy things. I just, these are war heroes, and you have been really nice. All right, I'm gonna go talk to Checkmate. Thank you so much. And I am saying all this as I'm waving and kind of half walking backwards out of this club.
Genuflecting a little. Yeah, I know it's very funny with your lanky character.
Yep.
All right,
and so I head straight to Checkmate.
Cool. So the path takes you from the narrow avenues. Cars aren't really a thing in this universe. So it takes you from the relatively narrow avenues to the even narrower side alleys. It's almost immediately darker and danker here. This isn't a great spot. And this bar or piloting club that you've been invited to, or directed to rather, nobody invited you, is this just little, literally a hole in the wall, which is to say there is a bomb hole punched through a brick wall, and on the other side is sort of a temporary bar. and sitting around inside are pilots, not old pilots, not veterans like in the other bar, but modern pilots. They're young, mostly in their late teens, early 20s. They've got their jackets with their insignias on them. They're drinking like crazy. It's the middle of the afternoon, and they are blitzed. And it's a complete disaster. And there's people kind of gathered around. Some of them like trying to sell things. Some of them just trying to get their attention. Because when a pilot shows up in town, they're the richest person in town, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the environment that you sort of find yourself walking into. You quickly spot across the other side of the bar. Using a knocked over piano as a table, are the people with the members of Checkmate. They've got big checker mark, insignias on the back of their jackets. They have pawns and rooks and knights sort of scattered around as patches. There's about half a dozen of them.
So I adjust my newly purchased leather jacket.
Yep.
As I'm I kind of grab, I'm making sure it's pristine. And I kind of walk over. And I'm a little more comfortable because I think I walk in and I see that this is a disaster. And I go, oh, this isn't so bad. I can live with this.
Yeah, so this is like Great Gatsby levels of excess being executed with Great Depression levels of stuff. So it's pretty impressive to behold. So as you stride towards the table, they take a look at you. They take a look at your stride and your newly purchased leather jacket, and they pull up a bit of Rebel for you to sit on.
Perfect. And I settle in, and I kind of put my elbows on the table, and I'm just like, hey, hi. Name is Oskar. I am looking for work, and I've heard tell that you've got work to give.
So, the sort of the oldest member of the group, he's this man with a very sharply trimmed blonde beard. He's still got his goggles perched up on his forehead, and he's got leather jackets often have the fur collars or whatever to keep you warm. His is made of feathers that are enormous and poking up everywhere. And he goes, so I assume you're here about the job. We've been putting out feelers just for the most competent of pilots, so I'm glad you found us.
I am exactly the sort of gullible sap that you need to run whatever ill-advised job you're looking to run. I am happy to take it on. All I ask is that we be honest about it.
He laughs so hard. He thinks you're joking. And he thinks it's the funniest fucking joke he's ever heard. Everybody's losing it. When they slap the table because it's an old piano, it makes a horrible sound. And he goes, my name's Wendell. I lead this branch of Checkmate. We're actually a pretty big organization. We may have been kicked out of the main circus for, politics. So, can I perhaps buy you a drink?
I would love that.
So he slides this awful, awful crap in front of you and starts telling you about the job. So he goes, basically, there's not as many of us as we would like, but we're still trying to do missions that Checkmate would do, try to get the good faith back with the main group, try to get back in. That's a little bit of a problem when there's 6 of you. So what we're trying to do is grab a couple of contractors to make sure that the jobs we're taking are something we can handle. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Strength in numbers, the more the merrier.
Exactly. So we got recently contracted to escort a whole bunch of airships through this northern passage through the mountains. The only problem is airships have been disappearing there a little bit too frequently for regular pirate activity or anything like that, because, pirates take ransoms. Bandits leave the plane there, the balloon there. So, that's a little unnerving, and we don't want to go in there guns blazing unless we know exactly what's happening to all these planes. 6 planes going in a formation, maybe nothing makes it out. 2 or 3 planes go in, maybe they make it out and tell us what's going on. So that's kind of the idea. We got a couple other people to be your wingman, and we just want you to go up there. You got to fight a plane. You know, just go up there, try not to die. Tell us what's happening to these balloons.
Fly in, try not to die, tell you what happened. Seems like, seems pretty easy. Seems right up my alley.
Cool. So, I'm going to roll a dice.
All right.
Digital dice, because I don't have my D10s on me. All right, let me roll. I think this is 3D10. So, he says, we can offer you 16 for the job, which I know was a little low, considering you're about to get shot at and all, but, you know, business. You're taking a little bit out of our cut. So, if you want to negotiate, you can totally negotiate. If you want to take it, you can take it.
I think I'm gonna take it. I think he says it's a little low, and I have to like bite my knuckle a little bit because he says 16, and I almost immediately go, great. No,
Yeah,
I can work with 16.
I love the idea that the only change needed is for you to buy a jacket, and they immediately think that you're a veteran at this. All right, cool. It's good to see that somebody's willing to, you know, make compromises. So, we launch it down tomorrow. Good luck. Try not to die. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. That's not a lot of things we do. We're pretty bad people. They laugh again. All right, cool. Get out of here. So, is there anything you would like to do before morning rolls around?
I think I get like a room. You know, I find a room at an inn or something. So somewhere I can crash.
This is an important question. Do you spend 1 to live okay, or do you spend 2 to live extravagantly?
I'm gonna spend 1 to live okay.
Cool. So yeah, you're sharing a room in what counts as a hotel in this bombed out place. So you've got a mat next to 3 or 4 other people.
And I think I kind of settle in, and I think I get the room. I kind of walk around a little bit. I walk back past the veterans thing, and I think Katrina is like outside having a smoke, and I kind of walk by and show off the jacket a little bit from afar, and she kind of rolls her eyes and smiles a little bit.
So yeah, you show off the jacket. You take a stroll through the streets. As it starts to get towards the evening, the streets start emptying pretty quick. Everybody starts finding their way inside. And you start hearing the buzzing of engines as planes come back from evening patrols. And you can see them passing over the streets real low as, you know, they basically taunt the town. And you're like, I wonder why everyone's getting out of the streets. These planes are amazing. And then one of them dumps something. You think it might be like an oil pan or something out onto the streets all over your new leather jacket.
Oh, yeah. Ruins it.
So I think we pick up the next morning with you lying in between 4 or 5 other people snoring, staring up at the ceiling, just like, you know, a lot anxious for the morning ahead.
So yeah, I wake up and I've got a letter on my chest. I'm sitting there anxious. I have a letter just addressed to Carl, and it's got like a little bit of a heart next to Carl.
Aw.
And I'm just kind of holding it, and I find my way to whatever like mail delivery service I can find, and I hand him the letter. You pay your last coin to because there's a lot of shipping going between places because no town can survive on their own. In the post-apocalypse, everybody's trading with everybody. Mm-hmm. So there's always room somewhere for some mail to arrive somewhere. It'll take a while. There's no formal post service anymore, but it's doable. And I hand it to him, and I'm like, just please make sure that he gets this. It's important. And the pilot nods and, stashes it
on the instrument panel of their 3-engined cargo plane, just as it starts taking off, loaded down with all the weird stuff that this place produces. I have no idea what that is. You're supposed to work out exports for a town, but I didn't even bother.
and then from there, I just head straight to the landing strips.
Cool.
Or the airfields.
So the airfield is just a grassy field, because these are early planes and they don't have really specialized takeoff and landing situations. So there are dozens of planes lined out here. From all sorts of different outfits. They're all bright colors. Some of them have streamers attached to them. They're all sorts of different shapes and sizes and configurations. You pass by a seaplane that is resting gently on the dew grass with this huge engine mounted in a pod atop of it. You pass by a group of little fighters that have 4 and 5 wings each, which just doesn't make any sense to you. You pass by one that its engines start and its propeller whirls, but it makes almost no noise, and you have no idea how that's doing. And you come to your airplane. Tell me about your airplane.
The Dancer in the Sky is a molded wood biplane. So it's got 2 wings. It is molded wood. It is painted sort of purpley, mauvey, and it's got almost... It's painted like it's an amateur trying to paint Van Gogh's Starry Night, like with the little starbursts.
That's
and it's
awesome.
got kind of that, and it's got some silver, some silver painted trim, and some of this has peeled off. A fair amount of it is peeled off, but and so it at least in theory looks nice. It's just kind of also a little beat up.
Yeah. There's a little bit of an unusual configuration for the aircraft. Can you sort of go into that for the listener? Or do you want me to? Because it's a weird...
if you want to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, your plane is a little bit unusual. It doesn't look like airplanes that most people would recognize in the modern day, because it is a Farman-style pusher airplane, which means you sit in a little seat up front, and right behind you is the engine in between the 2 wings. And then... built in sort of a series of struts, or kind of like a kite, is the structure that holds the tail behind the propeller. So it's a really delicate and strange looking machine that doesn't have a lot of body to it, but it flies just fine.
Yeah, it is. It is light. It is quick. It is a little fragile, but it is. It lives up to its name. It dances. You know, you get it up in the clouds, and it makes magic.
So it's also, because it's so light, you haven't fueled it up yet. So you're able to just sort of, because the weight is all in the middle, you're able to pick up the nose of it and roll it along the ground. And you do that for a little while, and then it gets a little too heavy. So you hire a couple of ground crew real quick with some of your local cash, and you pull it over to the rally point for the other airplanes. And you see the other airplanes you'll be going up in the air with. One of them is a little monoplane, just one little wing running down the middle of it. It's a very recognizable plane to you. There's thousands of these. It's called the C-10. Mm-hmm. It's got one little machine gun, and the person piloting it is this woman she's kind of older than most pilots, which is to say she's in her late 20s. And she's very small, appropriately small for the plane. She's 4'9". She's tiny. And the other plane is this just ridiculous looking biplane that has closed wings. So the wings are actually like a continuous loop. And it looks like it's got a metal framework to it. It's a really solid looking plane. It's got this huge engine on the front of it with big fan belts running and everything. And they're all sort of clustered together, and you pull your plane up, and you see that one of the members of Checkmate, you don't know who it is, but she runs over and goes, "So, is everybody ready to start flying?"
I stand at attention for about half a second, and then see that no one else is standing at attention, and kind of take on a posture that is too casual.
Awesome. You lean against the airplane, and the airplane rotates because it's so light.
Yep.
Like, starts sliding away.
And then I kind of like readjust and then kind of like sink into the mud a little bit. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
It's awful. Okay, so you, this way over enthusiastic woman sort of, I'm sure you'll all do great up there. The main thing to remember is if you die, we're not paying you. We need the information on who's shooting. And just to, rule out anything you might be thinking, no, we won't pay you the other people's salary if they die and you make it away. So don't get any bright ideas up there. We all know that trick. And everybody kind of grumbles. All right.
And I just look, I go pale and I look, I decide like, is that a... Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Is that a thing that happens? So she hands each of you a sort of a crudely made copy of a very nice military map. Like, you can tell that this was traced. And she's like, all right, so just follow the river and then take a left and, gives you the whole instructions. And everybody goes to mount up. And she waves and walks away. Are you ready to get flying?
I am ready to get flying.
Yeah, so just real quick, let's describe to the players your ridiculous digital version of the physical dashboard. That is totally a selling point for this Kickstarter. Oh,
it's very cool. It's got everything. It's one of the things I really like about this game is the sheer the dashboard is a thing that I specifically thoroughly enjoy about this. It's got trackers for my airspeed and my lift, or rather my height. It's got notes for all my stats on my fuel and things, and it's got slots for all of my weapons and add-ons that I can put onto the side of the dashboard.
Yep. So the way that this game is typically played is by, there's a lot of resource management to this game, so the dashboard makes it really easy by just putting some tokens down on some dials and moving them around as you need to. So you never have to count anything, and anything you do have to count, like fuel and ammunition, you just use tokens. So you never have to do any complex math during the playing of the game. You do have to do some complex math during the creation of airplanes if you want to do that, but that's completely optional. There's a lot of pre-made airplanes. Okay, so let's start your engines. So
all right,
this begins the pre-flight check portion of our game. The game takes place in phases: pre-flight check, air combat, ground evasion, pleasure, and then business. Because pilots do things backwards. So the first thing that you're going to want to do here usually is you're going to want to check your stress levels, but you have no stress because you've never flown a mission before. So the second thing you're going to do is you're going to roll to start your plane up. So you see that 3 in the middle of the gauge on your rotary engine?
Yes.
That's your engine's unreliability. This is not a very reliable engine. So you're going to be making a reliability check. You roll the 3d10, and if any of them are a 1, your engine starts braking before you get in the air.
All right.
Welcome to early aircraft.
That is a 5, a 3, and a 10.
Nice.
We're good.
Yep, so the engine starts with a throaty roar. The whole plane jerks to the side in your seat as the engine starts because it being a rotary engine, the whole engine spins along with the propeller, and that's a huge amount of weight in your plane. So everything just jumps to one side every time you rev it. And you start taxiing to take off. So you don't have to spend any fuel. You can get to whatever altitude and airspeed that you desire within your limits. So let's enter let's enter flight by rolling a navigation check to get where you're going. And I'll set you to some simple... You're going to be at 800. And your thrust is... Hey, what was your plane's thrust?
My plane's thrust was 7.
7. Cool. I gotta have a place to write that down on this fucking sheet. I've removed it and forgot to put it back. So we're gonna go up to... You're at your maximum speed right now. You can go above your maximum speed when it becomes relevant, but it's not right now. So let's roll navigate. in the new air combat rules because this is 1,000 different parts. Please cut the part out where it's broken. Okay, so air combat, air piloting maneuvers, navigate. There we go. So roll me plus comm.
Okay. 2d10 minus 1.
Okay.
That is a 3, 4, 3. Not great.
Yeah, you roll. Oh, okay. That's bad. Okay, so you take the lead in the formation, and you're trying your best to follow the map, but it doesn't make any sense at all. You look at the river and you look at the map, and they don't seem to match up whatsoever. You fly as best you can against it, and then you realize something might be a little bit wrong, and you tap your compass, and the compass comes loose and spins, and you realize, oh, I've been reading this map sideways. That would not help my cause. So you readjust your course, but you start coming in towards the mountain pass. It takes about an hour to get there. You start coming in on the mountain pass close to the mountain. You're basically turning into the mountain. The other pilots are flying in close formation to you, and they keep glancing over like they think something's wrong with your plane or you. So that's charming.
Great.
So let's just real quick, starting off, while you're in formation with people, you can communicate with them using hand signals. You can say pretty much anything you want with hand signals because pilots have a large hand signal vocabulary.
Sure.
The way we play at the table is you have to come up with hand signals to relate new concepts to other players.
Okay.
So you will actually develop a sort of sign language for airplanes. And you can tell what your campaign is about by what signs you come up with. So yeah, you have some people sort of looking at you nervously as you enter the valley. So in between, or this mountain pass rather. So the mountains are enormous. They're Everest-esque. Because everything is enormous in this universe. The valley, the pass is a valley that cuts deep in with this big river going through. The geography is greatly exaggerated. And as you enter, you start seeing signs of the balloons that have been lost going through here. A patch of burnt canvas hanging in a tree as you pass over it. You know, the skeleton of a rigid airship sort of lying in the ground, and you know it's putting you a little bit on edge. So what do you do as you fly through the pass?
I take note of the remains and I gesture. I sort of give it a. I know what it is. I pull two. I sort of pull my fingers in front of my face, like with one hand, and I sort of like gesture over my eyes as though I was pulling my eyes shut to symbolize like dead.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, dead things. So I'm, like, closing the eyes to symbolize, like, those things are dead.
Yeah, and, like, that's cool. That has, like, a sign of respect element to it, too, that I really like.
And then I kind of point downward to let everyone know, to signal that to everyone else that, like, we're where we need to be. You know,
cool.
Like, we're where we need to be. The things that are no longer here, like, this is, like, get ready for whatever is coming next. And, like...
Cool.
I real showily, I think what it is I open my hands as wide as they can go, and like grab like the rotor, or not the rotor, but the
that
controls.
Would be a little dangerous.
Yeah, I grab I guess not a joystick.
It's the flight stick.
The flight stick. I grab the flight stick. I open my palms wide, grab the flight stick, and hold it with both hands, and that is the symbol for basically like. Be ready for shit.
Yeah, so you start seeing the other pilots, like, glancing around, looking up, looking towards the sun. One of them holds a hand up between them and the sun with something in their hand to look directly into it. So, do you want to take a look around? It's a really good idea in Flying Circus, because you can lose track of things real fast. Okay, so roll eyeball. This is plus keen.
All right. That's also minus 1.
Okay.
That is a 7.
All right, a 6. So you are rolling awfully today.
Yes.
So I think that the first sign you have, you start imitating the other people. You start looking around, and you look directly into the sun, which isn't smart.
No, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, so you look up, ow, fuck, and you blink the brightness out of your eyes, and as you sort of come back, you see the first sign of incoming aircraft. And they are basically on top of you by the time you spot them. And the other aircraft around you are already starting to sort of move to brake. The aircraft that are approaching are 3 biplanes of some variety. They are sort of a golden or brassy color. They look like they have metal-plated exteriors. They are identical. And they don't seem to be trailing any exhaust behind them. So what do you do? They're about a kilometer away. They're closing real fast.
I am going to glance over at the other planes to see if they're still holding formation or if they're entering into, like, combat formation.
Cool. Yeah, they're, I think because this is a hard move and because you are being a little indecisive, that's okay. Your first time up. One of them breaks out of formation and starts diving away. And the other one is, like, kind of glancing at you nervously, like, what the hell do we do? Like, what are we doing?
And I tap. I take 2 fingers and I kind of, I kiss the 2 fingers and I tap in front of me where, like, the sort of back of one of the guns is to symbolize, like, alright, combat formation, let's do this.
Yeah, let's go in. Okay, cool. So
the odds of this being a chance encounter between planes in this balloon graveyard are slim. So yeah, I kiss my fingers, I tap the gun to basically be like, it's time to go to work.
Okay, so it sounds like you want to go in and, like, use these guns pretty quick, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, if the other plane, the plane that banked off, is the closed wing one. It's banking up and away. And the other plane goes tight in your formation, and the incoming unknown planes are approaching pretty quickly. So your options here are basically: do you brake to try to avoid incoming fire, or you just go head on with one of them?
I think I am going to brake to avoid oncoming fire first.
Cool. So let's roll an evade.
And I signal that to the other. Now that I know there are hand signals, I'm going hard on hand signals, and yeah. I signal that to the other plane, like, brake and regroup, like brake, remain calm and regroup by taking one hand and dusting off my right shoulder.
Yeah.
Cool. Shake the dust off my shoulder to basically be like, we're breaking. This is, basically letting them know that this is not like a retreat. This is just evasion. Like,
yeah, cool.
We got this.
So, how do you evade the craft coming at you?
I think I follow the lead of the closed wing and, like, bank. Do you bank up?
Yeah, he went into a climbing turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow the lead of the closed wing, take the climbing turn, and try to possibly come up behind them.
Cool. So here is where we start getting into the awesomeness of how the moves work in this game, and why I chose to use Powered by the Apocalypse to make this incredibly crunchy game.
All right.
In your air combat moves, which I showed you that file, there's maneuvers and there's moves. And you actually combine the 2 of them together when it's appropriate. So what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be rolling evade, but you're also going to be making a steady climb.
Okay.
So that lets you basically ascend quite a bit. Actually, no, this is a zoom climb because you're in combat. So basically you're going to trade speed for altitude by how much you want to climb, while you roll 2d10 plus keen and handle.
Cool.
I believe your plane has, like, a ridiculous handling bonus. You should have no trouble with this.
It has a very good handling bonus. My plane has handling of... Hold on. It has handling of +6. Plus my keen is +8.
Roll 1 more dice as well for your formation mate.
All right.
Pick the 2 highest. And tell me if the one you discard is a 1.
It is not a 1, it is a 3, and I got a 14 plus 8, which is 22.
+8, holy Christ.
Oh, no, sorry. My handling currently, because I have 6 fuel, is +2. So that drops down.
Yeah, so
22, 20. So that actually is a 14 plus
15.
4, which is an 18.
An 18. Okay, cool. So that's still a perfect success. So choose 3. Take 1 less hit. Take an additional 1 less hit. So if that's just a regular machine gun, you're going to dodge it entirely. Take 1 less damage per hit. Leave your attacker wide open for attacks by turrets. You haven't got any of those, so that doesn't count. Or protect yourself from further attack.
I pick 3.
Yep.
I'm absolutely going to dodge both hits and protect myself from further attacks.
Yeah, so you and the other pilot just, soar right clear, and you are going to climb. So how far do you want to climb? This is where things get crazy. Remember that huge, ridiculous chart I gave you?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so your speed is currently 7, and your rise is currently 3, so we cross-reference there.
So I'm at rise 1, or I'm at climb 1, right?
You're actually at climb 2. Rise 3, speed 7.
Oh, rise 3. Oh, yeah, I see. Rise 0 is an option. Got it.
Yeah. So
rise 2.
So that means that you can climb up to 2 altitude bands, about 200 meters, spending 1 speed for each, making it cheaper. And then after that, you have to spend way more speed.
I think I'm gonna climb climb 1, just enough to kind of get around them.
Cool.
Because I'm gonna then be dropping back down behind them.
All right, so I will adjust your altimeter and airspeed indicator.
All right.
And it is time now to, what's the next thing you do? You are over them. They pass under you. You're banking into a turn, so you've already got the momentum going. What do you do?
I'm going to try and pull off a 180 to be going the same direction as them.
Cool. And get behind them?
Yeah. The goal is to drop down, turn, get behind them so that I can open fire.
Cool. How close do you want to get to them?
Close enough for machine gun fire.
Cool. So, the way that this works is this is the generic move in this game for air combat. This is a gain advantage. So, gain advantage covers any time you want to do this kind of thing, and the greatest part about it is you get to pick which stat you use. So, this doesn't sound like a particularly daring move, you're just continuing your turn. So, hard would be good. You're going in for the attack, you've really, you've got this good.
I'm on the hunt, so I'm going to go hard.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the other thing to cover is that you can spend speed to do better on moves.
Okay.
You can spend 1 speed to get a +1 before you roll, or 2 speed to get a +1 after you roll.
And my speed is currently at 6.
Yes.
So I'm going to...
Really quick, your stall speed is listed on the dashboard there. Because you have a rise of 3, you stall out at 3.
Okay. So I'm not going to spend any speed right now because I want to conserve that, and I am going to roll 2d10 plus 2 plus 1 dice for my formation partner. Drop the lowest, tell you if it's a 1.
You can also gain 1 speed here because you're diving back in on them.
All right, perfect.
So that is
up to 7. So then I will spend 1 speed to up by 1. Keep the same speed that I'm at.
Excellent.
So that's plus 3. I'm rolling 3 dice, dropping the lowest, telling you if it's a 1. That is a 4, 9, and that is a 4, 9, and 2. So that is a 13 plus 3, which is a 16.
That is another perfect roll. At least you're rolling well when you need to.
I'm not great at a lot of things, but I'm good in the air.
So this is a 16 plus is you have the enemy exactly where you want them. You just tell me what your new circumstances is, which is, it sounds like you get behind their formation right in machine gun range, right?
Close range specifically. I'm going for, I think I realized that I've got him in the range of my precision rifle.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to get ready to pop them.
All right, cool. So now, do you want to blast these fools?
I do indeed.
All right, so that is open fire. So when you pull the trigger of a weapon, you consume 1 ammo and roll plus hard. If you hold the trigger down, you can spend an additional ammo and do more damage.
I'm going to not hold the trigger down. I'm just going to open fire. And I'm going to specifically, use my bullseye.
Oh, you want the perfect shot?
Just pop them. Yep.
Cool.
Because this is the first time I'm using my Ant's precision rifle. So yeah, it's just like a clean. It is just legally distinct from Luke Skywalker, right? Like I breathe and I'm pointing the rifle and I hear her voice. I hear her being like, "It's all in the wrist." You know, it's all in the breath. You breathe in.
This is literally an infantry rifle that's been mounted to your plane, so you actually have to take one hand off the flight stick and put it around the trigger, and you fire. So you automatically score a perfect success on this with your bullseye move. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of the effects from the list below. Inflict one additional hit, inflict an additional damage per hit, shift the hit locations up or down by 3 towards something you want to hit. So be like, I want to hit the pilot, and you have a better chance of hitting the pilot. Force the enemy to swerve, spin, or lose altitude. And the last one you don't got to worry about because they haven't got turrets.
I'm going to force the enemy to lose altitude. We're trying to figure out what the problem is.
Okay, cool.
So we probably want to be able to like get them to tell us what the problem is.
Yeah. So roll 1d20.
All right. That is a 17.
A 17. So a 17 on against the foe like this, considering the configuration of their aircraft. Actually, I think you just blew off one of those plane's rudders.
All right.
So yeah, you squeeze the trigger, and the gun sort of jerks back, and the whole plane shudders as a result. And the rudder, the thing that controls where you turn on their airplane, flaps off like a useless, piece of paper blowing in the wind. And that plane starts sort of swerving a little bit in the sky. So your formation mate also, starts shooting, but pretty much just stitches bullets past the 3 planes as they start breaking off. One plane takes a left turn, and 2 planes take a right turn, and split off. The plane that's going on its own is heading for the other pilot, who is, one altitude above you and trying to get away, like basically running the moment contact happened.
I point at him with a thumb. I point at the pilot, like trying to run with a thumb, and I just give it like, I'm trying to think what's the most. I give it like this really I point it with my thumb, and I give this like floppy, like shitty salute that is the ultimate symbol of like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Cool. So that is a great bit of shade, but what do you do as a pilot?
As a pilot, we are going to both pursue the other 2 planes.
Excellent.
Where did the plane that is damaged? Was that the one that went left or right?
That one went left with the other 2, or right with the other 2.
Then, right, we're gonna hang right and keep trying to just take them out, like take the main thrust of them out.
Cool. So let's see if you can. So you're just gonna try to hold on behind them?
Yeah.
Let's gain the advantage again. Let's keep behind them.
All right. 4, 5. That is a 9. That is an 11. That is a. Does that count handling?
Yes.
That is an 11, 12, 13. But the one that I dropped for formation was a 1.
Okay. So oh, delightful. Okay, so you follow them into a broad turn. They turn about 180 degrees, and you're on them the whole time, trying to get a bead on them to shoot. And as you turn back around, you see something in the corner of your vision streaking down from a dive, a 4th aircraft, and it strafes the plane beside you. And I'm going to roll some dice. The GM doesn't have to roll dice, but is encouraged to sometimes to randomly generate results for funsies.
I love random tables.
Come on. Okay, it's not working. Could you roll me a 2d20?
2d20.
Yep.
That is a 1 and a 20, so 21.
Okay, well, it's a 1 in a 20, which means it hits like every vital thing on this aircraft.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's not great. It's not great for my buddy.
Yeah, so it shoots the elevators off that plane and puts a whole bunch of holes through the engine. And the plane immediately starts trailing black smoke and struggling to keep up with you. As this other plane streaks by at 200 miles an hour, or 200 kilometers an hour. Oh my god, it's so fast. It's the fastest thing you've ever seen. But you stay on target. So you can break now to try to deal with that. You can try to cover your buddy. You can keep shooting at these people you're chasing. What do you do?
I'm going to... We know what the problem is. So I'm gonna keep opening fire on the ones that aren't damaged. Try to make sure that I try to leave everyone damaged enough that I can get away and get back. Because if we see what the problem is, they're shooting planes out of the sky. We were told to figure it out and get back.
Cool. So roll me open fire again. Do you want to hold the trigger down? Do you gonna use the machine gun?
I'm gonna stick with the rifle.
Okay.
Because I'm at close range, which gives me a +2 to attack. So I'm gonna stick with the rifle. I am gonna hold the trigger down and use two more. You
can't do that ammo on your precision rifle.
Then yeah, I'm gonna stick with the rifle, but take that +2 attack.
Cool. So roll that.
That's a +4.
Yeah. So this is like a big bolt action rifle, so you have to reload it manually between shots. So you're you pop the bolt open, you put another shell in from a little pouch you have in the side of the cockpit.
And that is a 13.
That is a partial success. So you just hit it. So roll 1d20 to see what you hit.
That is a 13.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty good. So actually, yeah, you tap this thing in where the pilot would be. And it immediately twists from the sky and starts flipping by you. And as it passes by you, spiraling towards the ground, you see that there isn't a pilot in the pilot seat. There doesn't actually seem to be a cockpit at all. It's just a smooth area there in this copper bronze looking aircraft that impacts with the ground, and it doesn't explode into sparks or fire or smoke. It just smashes apart like somebody broke a fine watch with a hammer.
Okay, that's not great.
What do you
do? I am going to immediately switch over to the machine gun, hold down the trigger, and try to pop one of the other one of the adjacent ones out of the sky.
So the other one in the formation, the one you damaged before?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, roll that again. You're still on these guys, no problem.
All right, and that is going to be a +2.
Remember, you can spend speed beforehand or afterwards.
That is a 12. That is a 14.
Cool, yeah, another partial success, so roll 1d20.
Another 13.
Okay. That's alright. So yeah, you rake fire across the cockpit-like area, and this plane starts listing slowly, and starts very, pirouetting in the sky slowly as the torque of the engine takes over. And eventually it flips over upside down and starts diving towards the ground. So you glance over at your formation mate, who is not doing terribly well. Their elevator is hanging on by a thread. There's smoke pouring out of the engine. And you can't see anything else. You can't see the person who ran. You can't see the plane that chased them. You can't see the plane that strafed you. What do you do?
If I can't, heroes don't run. I gotta, but what can I do? I can't. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I can't save him. There's nothing I can do in this tiny little plane that's gonna help me, if he's fallen out of the sky, he's fallen out of the sky.
Well, you don't know where he is. You literally have no idea where anything is. That's something in Flying Circus. If you're not paying attention to it, it disappears and you have to find it again.
All right. I'm gonna try and figure out how to turn around and get back.
All right, cool. So you're just going to turn and go? You're not going to look for it? Yeah. Cool.
It's my best option. It's the only option that I feel like I got. We know what the problem is, which is what we were told to do, was just figure it out and not die. We've got the first one down. I really need to work on the second.
Yeah. So you've got 2 kills. You decide that's enough. Let's head home. We've already got a damaged plane and somebody missing. So you start booking it out as fast as you can go. Actually, if you want to go as fast as you can go, you're a little bit under your speed right now, so you can actually accelerate a little faster if you want. You can run your engine hot to go faster than you normally do.
I would love to do that.
Okay, cool. So how much faster do you want to go than normal? If you accelerate, you'll just go back up to speed 7, but you can basically roll 1 more dice on your unreliability to go faster and faster and faster.
I think just 7. I love this. I love the dancer in the sky. I know its limits.
Cool. So yeah, you pull the throttle forward. You open it up all the way, and it roars across the sky as fast as it'll go. The other little plane struggles to keep up, but does all right. Being a little monoplane, it hasn't got a lot of drag. And as you're pulling away, you start hearing another sound under the engine sound, a sort of whirling that doesn't make a lot of sense to you. It's not something you've ever heard before. Actually, no, it sounds a little familiar. It sounds like the sound that the bartender's arms made when she moved around. That clockwork ticking. And you look behind you and see that not far from you at all is the metal propeller of this brass plane that has crept up on you, making almost no noise whatsoever as you're trying to escape. What do you do?
I am going to... It worked for us once. I'm going to bank up and try to pull behind it.
Cool. Yeah, so roll evade.
All right.
Oh, we forgot to roll if your engine blows up. That's okay.
What am I rolling for evade?
That is plus keen.
Plus keen.
And include your handling.
All right, so that's going to be a plus 4. 10, 16, 20.
20. All right, yeah, no, that's a perfect evasion. Roll 1 more for your friend as well.
21.
So they rolled 1?
No, they rolled a 7. But
okay.
That meant that the other one, I rolled a 10 I rolled 10, 6, and 7. So the 6 drops out, so it only bumps it up by 1. But cool. 21.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, you dive out of the way, you climb out of the way. So how far do you want to climb? You want to go all the way up, or
yeah,
just like really get altitude here?
Yeah, get enough, especially if it's right behind me. I need to get some height before I try to like dive back around.
All right. So when you climb past your climb value, which again is 2 right now,
I think we're gonna go for 2. I think we're gonna stick.
Just gonna do 2.
Climb
okay.
2. Yeah.
Because if you go beyond that, you start working your engine, and it becomes an issue. You went back down to 8, so now you're back. Now you're up to 10. You're at 10 altitude. Normally we would worry about ascension at this point, but who cares? So yeah, you hit 10 altitude, and you bank away easily, and the plane starts climbing up to chase you. You're climbing up as fast as you can, and this plane rolls around like into a half loop and starts climbing up after you just as fast as it can. It can't sustain a climb like that, but it is coming after you. What do you do?
I'm going to try and, same as before, drop down behind it, get in position for those machine guns, and hold that trigger like it's a baby. So
you're going to loop up and over it and back around behind it? That sounds like a daring move.
You know it is.
All right, so roll. This is going to be what's called pushing the limit. You can do this with any of your air moves. It lets you swap daring for your regular move. But if you only get a partial success, you basically, like, something goes wrong with your airplane. You push it too far, you slip out of the sky, you miss something, you snap a cable, that kind of thing.
Am I rolling a third dice for my squad mate?
Yes.
All right, so that is a 9, 7, and a 6. So that is 9 and 7 is 16, so that is an 18.
Cool. So you're 18, that's a perfect go. I think I might have to adjust the formation rules. Wah, wah. We're learning.
It's a playtest.
To a game and testing. Exactly. So yeah, you do a perfect little loop around this airplane, and using the speed you build up coming back around, you drop in behind it while it's still stalling out in mid go. So it skids across the sky and starts slowly twisting towards the ground, and it's at the apex of its climb when you come back around with level on it, the gun's perfectly lined up against its side profile. What do you do?
Squeeze that trigger like I'm gonna snap it right off.
So you're gonna hold down the trigger for this one and fire your machine gun like crazy?
Yeah.
Hell yes. You took a lot of ammo, so you might as well use it.
Might as well use it. Especially because this thing scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah. Okay, so hold down the trigger and have your formation mate fires as well.
All right. That is a 5, a 9, and for my formation mate is a 6, so that is a 14 plus 6, that is a 16.
That is a 16. God dang. All right. I've been used to people who build really fat airplanes, and their handling bonus is really low. And you built this, dogfighting death machine. It's amazing. So
I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you obliterate this thing pretty much. So roll. The way that this works is you pick your choose one, but you get to choose two because you put more ammo into it. So inflict +1 hit, inflict +1 damage per hit, shift locations to hit something vital, or force the enemy to swerve.
I am going to force the enemy to swerve and adjust to hit something vital.
What do you want to hit?
The engine.
Cool.
Take it out of the sky.
Roll 2d20.
All right. That is a 19 and a 17.
All right, so yeah, you're not hitting the engine.
That's fine.
You pepper most of the shots towards the middle of it, but you do get to move the hits down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So what was it? A 17 and a
19.
So what you end up hitting is you don't hit the pilot, but you hit where the fuel tank usually is on these kind of planes, and the plane blows up. It doesn't blow up in a fireball. It just springs apart at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And bits of it go everywhere, and there's this horrible sound of rending metal that drowns out the sound of the engine for a moment, as little bits just fly everywhere, and you fly through it, listening to it patter off the canvas of the wood, actually, of your airplane.
In the moment before we fly through it, I put one finger to my forehead, and then just point forward, gesturing, do you fucking believe that?
Yeah. Pretty much. The other pilot just does the classic shrug, fuck if I know. So you speed on through the remnants of this plane as it comes apart in the air, and you see the bits that are falling past you and around you are not pieces you associate with airplanes. They're big brass springs and gears and levers. And you zoom off into the great unknown and back home. So I'm going to spend 1 fuel for you, and I want you to roll to get home. This is going to be your last roll before you land, hopefully.
All right, what am I rolling?
This is a comm roll.
All right, so not my best. Not my best, so that's going to be a -1. Am I adding handling this or no?
Nope. This is an intellectual exercise.
That is a 9 and 8 total.
8 total. All right. So yeah, so what I'm going to say happens is that you look around inside your cockpit for the map and realize that it's probably blew out at some point during the dogfight. So you start setting your plane back home as best you can remember. You start trying to follow the river. You get confused as to what river it is. and you arrive home with fumes left. And your formation mate's engine starts cutting as you approach the airfield, and they land hard. You land just fine, but they land, and the wheels dig into the ground, and they go nose first into the dirt. So you climb out of your plane, and you see, like, you know, the airfield workers and other pilots running over to help her. The other plane is nowhere to be found on the airfield. What do you do?
Oh, go ahead.
I just remembered, it's time for you to take stress.
Yes.
Because you finished a flight. So, let's see. Did you get hit by enemy fire?
Did I?
I don't think you did.
No, I did not.
Did you take a life?
I believe, I don't
know.
Not sure.
Yeah, so we won't count that one. Was a comrade wounded?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, they were. Was a comrade lost?
Yes.
All right. Any other member of the squadron? That doesn't count for here. You weren't shot down. You didn't lose an engine. Your plane didn't catch fire. You did run out of fuel. But you didn't lose a control service.
So that's 3 stress.
3 stress. So you're going to want to drink that off before your next mission, basically.
Yep.
And I think that as you're sort of staring at the group of people trying to get the other pilot out, and before the plane is completely engulfed in flames, you're sort of, you know, watching all this chaos happen as the sun goes down in the distance, and, you know, this commotion. A little firefighting wagon rolls out, and a hand is clamped on your shoulder, and, you know, you react as you would.
I kind of like I kind of like jump with a shock, because, like, for a brief second, like, in my head I hear that ticking, and I'm like,
So behind you is Wendell, you know, enormous man, huge hands, and he you know, sort of chuckles at you a little bit, and he's like, "So, I take it things went exactly to plan."
Yeah, it was exactly as ill-advised as you gave it, as you suggested in the business pitch, but did I not say I was exactly the gullible sap you needed?
That you did. So, do you have any idea what it is?
I know what we've got some solid intel on it. Couldn't tell you. Damned if I can understand the intel that I got, but I got some intel. We are looking at autonomous, self-flying, clockwork robo-planes.
And he just looks at you, and he goes, "Again? Well, there's nothing new under the sun. Well, I still have work for you if you need it."
I'm still a gullible sap if you need it.
All right, cool. That is a perfect end, I think.
The last thing that we see is a farm out in the small farming town of Volkfield. A plane lands, you know, loaded with, like, whatever strange exports come from Augsburg, and a letter is handed to a young man. You know, another farmer, maybe a pig farmer, something to that nature. Kind of reads the letter, and it just says, "Dear Carl, I'm taken to the air tomorrow. A genuine, honest-to-goodness mission. You'll get another letter in a couple days, provided I make it back, but there's no guarantee, as I think we both know. But I wish you could be there. I wish you could see it, the planes and the excitement as we're all about to take to the skies. I wish you could see it, but I know that this life wasn't the one you wanted, and I understand that. But I want you to know that I'm still reaching for it. And I miss you. And I still love you. Signed, Oskar."
Oh, that...
Carl, like, looks to the horizon and is just like, "I'll wait for the next letter."
I feel really that we need to do another of these, like, soon? Because there's a sequel hook here that is so strong.
I feel real good about it.
Oh my god.
Erika, thank you for coming on the show again. This was a blast.
Yeah, this was super fun. I'm glad that this didn't blow up too badly.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I really love young Oskar. He makes me very happy.
Yes. All right. Excellent. So
real quick before I wrap up, where can people find your work and where can people find the Kickstarter for Flying Circus?
So they'll be able to find the Kickstarter for Flying Circus at kickstarter.com, .org, .gov.
.business.
.business.
Kickstarter.horse, I believe specifically.
Kickstarter.kickstarter.
Yep.
And you can find my work at Patreon at OpenSketch, open_sketch, or you can find me on Twitter at OpenSketchbook. There's links to my Drive-Thru RPG page where you can buy my other games. And I hope that you enjoyed listening to this system mostly hold together.
It held together very well. I'm very excited about it. I cannot wait to back this game on Kickstarter.
Excellent. All right, so, cool.
Thank you for coming on the show, and I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take a future, me.
Thanks, Fast Me. And thanks again to Erika for coming on to the show. That game was so good, and I cannot wait for it to hit Kickstarter. I want this game so badly. Oh, it's so good. Okay, alright. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information about Flying Circus and for the Kickstarter link when it drops, as well as more information about Erika's other games. It is a well-documented fact that I'm a big fan of Erika's work, because these games are always fantastic. Also, be sure to follow Erika on Twitter at OpenSketchbook. Then while you're on Twitter, follow the show at Party of One Pod, then slide over to Facebook and like the show at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. If you enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review, a social media shout-out, or a word-of-mouth recommendation. Any one of those things helps new people find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. You can also consider backing our Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. Patreon backers get access to bonus material, podcasts, and interviews. And Patreon dollars help pay for equipment fees, hosting costs, and convention appearances. You know, all of the little things that keep the show going. If you'd like to hear more from me, check out All My Fantasy Children, the character creation, world building, and storytelling podcast powered by your listener props, hosted by me and Aaron Catano-Saez. You can find that at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about coming onto the show, whether you're a podcaster, game designer, professional wrestler, or lover of two-player role-playing games, or you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, you can reach me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. Well, that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.